Revenge films.
My name is Chelsea Smith, and I live with my husband, Thomas Smith. Every year for the New Year's holiday, it was my family tradition to go to Thomas's family's home and spend the holiday with them. Every year, even though we travel a long way to get to the Smith family house, which was far from the nearest train station, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law never welcomed me and said they would treat me like a slave, so I really hated going to their house. My father-in-law was always somebody that was practically thin air, and it was standard that even for my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law were bullying me, he didn't seem to mind at all. Even I spoke to my husband about it, he just thought it was a pain and didn't get along with them. And he wouldn't take my side at all. Within the family, the only person that was on my side was my little 5-year-old niece, Melissa. My little niece, Melissa, really liked me for some reason, and every single time I'd go to the Smith family home, she would always stick to me and not leave my side. Every single time that I would reluctantly go to the Smith home for New Year's, as soon as we arrived, my mother-in-law would demand that I go straight into the kitchen and start getting ready.
You useless woman! Just so that you could be a little bit useful as a daughter-in-law, you're going to help around the house all day today.
And from there began a full day of standard harassment. As soon as I would open the refrigerator door,
stop staring into someone else's refrigerator like that and stop wasting the electricity. You have no manners.
I was immediately yelled at. And then when I tried to turn off the kitchen fan,
why are you wasting even more electricity? Just open the window, you idiot!
And even though it was the middle of the winter freezing outside, I would have to cook in the kitchen in the freezing cold. As for my sister-in-law, she'd just watch me with a grin on her face and just laze around while eating snacks all day. She didn't show a sign of helping out whatsoever. My husband would just leave me to fend for myself, and he would immediately start drinking beer with his dad. My mother-in-law would also want to drink with them, so I'd be left in the kitchen by myself to do all the washing and cleaning for the meals. But then Melissa would come up right behind me and hug me.
Auntie Chelsea, can I help you too?
Thank you, Melissa, but it's too cold in here. You should go in the living room.
Melissa, if you stay in a place that cold, you're gonna catch a cold. Why don't you come over here with Grandma?
I don't wanna. I'm gonna be here with Auntie Chelsea.
When my in-laws tried to take Melissa away, she started crying out loud and throwing a tantrum. However, the kitchen was so cold that everybody was worried about my niece, so we decided to go eat lunch instead. Even though we were going out, Thomas's family lived in the suburbs, and since there was only one car that could fit 5 people at once, not everybody was able to get into the car at the same time. And so, without any discussion with me, I was going to be stuck at home by myself, all of the rest of them going out to eat. But then my niece started throwing another tantrum, and she said that if I'm not going, then she doesn't want to go either. And so they caused another problem. In the end, it was decided that Melissa and I would stay home together, and we just sent the rest of the family off at the door while they went to go eat lunch.
Listen, if anything happens to Melissa, I'm never gonna forgive you. You better look after her and take care of her.
If Melissa gets hurt at all, I'm gonna force you to get a divorce with Thomas.
Melissa, if this woman does anything to you at all, you're going to go and escape to the neighbor's house, okay? Do you hear me? But Auntie Chelsea is so nice.
If you're left alone with her, then she's probably gonna show her true nature.
So you do need to be careful, Melissa.
Come on, I'm starving! Let's hurry up and go to the restaurant!
Thomas is right. Let's get going.
After yelling at me and threatening me for no reason, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law went off before the whole family, and Melissa and I sent them off at the front door. But that was when I decided to get my revenge on all of them. My niece and I were left by ourselves in the front door. First, we went to the fridge and took out all of the expensive ingredients that were properly meant to be served for dinner tonight, and we ate to our heart's content. Everything is so delicious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so good. I'm so glad we stayed home.
Me too, Melissa. Once we finished eating and we were completely full, we decided to go into the family memorial room and throw up all around and play. As my niece and I were throwing around the ball and throwing as hard as we could, running around, the family altar was half destroyed.
That was so much fun. What should we do next, Auntie Chelsea?
I'm a bit tired, so why don't we go take a nap?
Oh yeah, let's take a nap.
And the two of us got into the futon together and took a nap. By the time we realized it, it was already evening. When I woke up, the family was already home. For some reason, the entire family was completely drunk, and they had driven the car back to the house. When they came inside the house, they saw the food had been eaten and thrown everywhere in the dining room. My mother-in-law was furious. Immediately after that, she went into the family memorial room, and she saw that the altar was half destroyed, and her anger exploded.
Chelsea, what the hell is this? What have you done?
Welcome home, ma'am.
I'm so sorry, Grandma. The ball I threw accidentally hit the altar and it broke. It's all my fault.
When my mother-in-law saw that Melissa had tears in her eyes and was apologizing, she wasn't able to say anything in return.
This is your fault for not looking after her properly. What are you going to do about the altar?
Don't get mad at Auntie Chelsea. She didn't do anything wrong.
Even though my mother-in-law was trying to yell at me, my little niece was just trying to defend me, and nobody was able to say anything back to her. Just as the whole family had gone silent, I decided to tell them the reason why I broke their altar. But I don't know why you're so upset, ma'am. When you told me that you hated everybody in your husband's family and you wanted to throw away and destroy the altar yourself. And plus, this is the first time I came over to this house. You were always trash-talking about your husband's family. So I am surprised that you're actually taking his side right now. But then my mother-in-law went into a tantrum.
Why would you ever say something like that, you liar? Stop making stuff up. How truly scary. Don't you think it's better to divorce this woman before you become married to a criminal?
All right, everybody calm down.
I'm never gonna forgive her. How dare you try to make fun of your mother-in-law like that? I'm not gonna let you get away with this.
As my mother-in-law was yelling, she lunged forward and tried to grab me, and yet my husband was standing there watching and didn't even try to defend me. And so instead, I brushed off my mother-in-law's hands away from me, and I went to half the destroyed altar and completely destroyed it. When they saw me physically react, perhaps that's when they thought I had gone crazy, and everybody stood there in shock. I was so furious with my husband and his family, who all reeked of alcohol and just stood there. How could anybody leave alcohol in their homes of people who are going to be drunk and drive in this state? As I said that, I went around and I gathered all the alcohol that was in the house. The wine, the beer, the sake, the soju. I grabbed everything, and I started throwing it all down the drain. But then my niece started helping me, and even after all the expensive alcohol, we didn't show any mercy and we threw it all away. To top it all off, I grabbed an expensive looking glassware and I could find, and I smashed it all. I left that glass in the backyard, and then I left my husband at the house and I went home by myself. For the latter half of my actions, everybody just stood there in silence with their jaws on the floor as they watched me. When I got home, I cheered myself with a pint of beer, and when I immediately received a message of apology from my husband. It said,
Can I come now?
but I completely ignored it. And then I replied eventually, and I said that I wanted to get a divorce. I didn't even get a response from that. And then, about an hour later, my husband showed up at the front door with his car from his family house, panicking as he came into the front door. Did you drive drunk just to get here again?
This is your fault, because you said that you wanted to get a divorce!
I already decided that I'm going to divorce you. So why don't you go home to your beloved little family?
Are you kidding me? But I didn't do anything wrong! Why are you saying that I did?
Because my husband was starting to get angry instead. I told him everything that his mother and his sister had done to me all these years, and then I clearly told him that there's no way that I could trust him anymore, when all he would do was just sit by and watch in silence. When my husband realized I wasn't going to budge on my desire to get a divorce, he became physically violent. I had gathered my belongings and tried to leave the house, when he forced me down and tried to hold me hostage. What are you doing? Stop it! Let me go!
Until you promise that you're not going to divorce me, I'm not going to let you go anywhere!
I was trying to resist him, but then he grabbed his belts that were nearby and he tried to tie down my arms. And then he locked me into the bedroom, and then my husband disappeared from there. I was panicking and I was terrified and on the verge of a mental breakdown. But then I quickly regained my composure and I remembered that I had my cell phone in my pocket. My husband must have thought that my arms were tied up. I wouldn't be able to work my cell phone. Walked out of the house comfortably. However, I called out, "Hey Siri," to my phone, and with Siri's help, I was able to call the police. And then, not long after that, the police showed up to me and my husband was arrested. After that, getting a divorce was a piece of cake. I got hurt around my arms from the belt that my husband had tied to keep me hostage, so I was able to collect a settlement fee from my husband for domestic violence and easily get a divorce. My husband tried to ask me multiple times to meet and talk about it, but I couldn't believe my husband was trying to see me, even after being taken away by the police. And so I agreed to have a discussion through my lawyer, and thankfully I didn't have to meet him directly in order to get a divorce. With the payment of the settlement fee to me, my husband drained his savings account and he was no longer able to live on his own and he had to move back with his parents. Perhaps being arrested by the police had quite the effect on him because when my husband moved back with his parents, I heard that he would drown himself in alcohol and then started to become physically violent towards his family.
Thomas, you have to stop drinking!
Shut up! That's alcohol that I bought with my own damn money! That's none of your business! I can do what I want!
Please, I'm begging you, don't drink anymore!
You know, the only reason why I had to get a divorce, it's all your fault, Mom! You completely ruined my life! I hate you! How dare you!
Stop it, please! I can't live like this anymore!
My in-laws became so exhausted with my ex-husband and their house that they both developed neurosis. My husband's violent behavior became rumors around the neighborhood as well, and so they were left having to move out and be isolated from the neighbors. After that, I have no idea what happened to that family. As for me right now, right after I got a divorce, I went back to working full-time and my life has been quite busy. Sometimes I think about my niece Melissa and I do get sad wondering how she's doing. But all I could do was keep working hard and stay well and look forward to the day that I can be reunited with her again.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.